Mast cell disease and your ERISA long-term disability claim. You may have purchased a disability insurance policy or covered under your employer's plan, never thinking that you'd be filing a claim for disability benefits because of mast cell disease. What is mast cell disease? Well, the term mast cell disease is a very broad term, and it's used for many allergy-like symptoms caused by the abnormal stimulation of mast cells. Let's talk a little bit of biology first, okay? Now, mast cells are found in the loose connective tissue throughout your body. They are immune cells that activate an inflammatory response that protects us from pathogens and from foreign substances. When triggered, a mast cell is going to cause allergic-like symptoms that will release mediators. Now, mast cells help maintain the equilibrium of the immune system. Unfortunately, when mast cells don't function properly or are abnormally stimulated to release the mediators, the immune system goes out of sync. The results can be a frequent episode of allergic reaction, which can vary in intensity and length and severity. You can even have anaphylactic reactions. Mast cell disease can impact a number of organs, including your lungs. It can impact your heart, the kidneys, the gastroenterological tract, the brain, the spleen, bone marrow, liver, your bladder, lymph nodes, and even the skin. The definition of disability and occupation in your policy or plan is really important when it comes to mast cell disease, because you've got to prove that you are disabled as that term is defined in your policy or plan. That generally means you can't do your own occupation or any occupation due to an illness or medical condition caused by mast cell disease. Now, remember that the definition of occupation can also vary, and you generally have to prove that you can't perform your occupation as either you performed it for your employer, how it's performed in the local economy, or even pursuant to the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. And remember, generally after 2 years, this definition of disability is going to change from an inability to do your own occupation to an inability to do any occupation. So what does this all have to do with mast cell disease? Well, these claims are often denied when the definition of disability changes, because the carrier or plan will take the position that you can do at least sedentary work. Now, in looking at your claim, the carrier is going to look at your medical records, and what they expect to see are the following. Now, mast cell disease is caused by many different triggers, and it impacts different body systems. So the disability carrier is going to be reviewing your history of what triggers your symptoms, how your symptoms, what they are, how long they last, your response to treatment, and how those symptoms impact not only your ability to do your own occupation, but any occupation. Now, I think the best way to do that is to keep a log or a spreadsheet that you can give to your physician at each visit, asking that it be made part of your medical records. Of course, you want to keep a copy for yourself. Now, what I think is key is the issue of remissions and the problems that you might have during remissions. And this is crucial because the disability or carrier is going to seize on these periods when you have no allergic symptoms or you have, at best, minimal symptoms. And they'll say, look, that's evidence that you are not disabled and that you can work. They also may argue that if you avoid the triggers, you wouldn't be disabled to begin with. Unfortunately, disability carriers or plans treat everybody with mast cell disease the same, and they don't understand the triggers or the different types of mast cell disease. Worse yet, I don't think they even understand what mast cell disease is, much less the symptoms, much less the severity, and the impact it can have on your functionality. They're really interested in focusing on those periods of time in which you aren't having any symptoms. So I think it's important that you are represented by a competent and qualified mast cell ERISA disability attorney. Now, I have mast cell reactions, which I'll discuss in my next video, and I have an unfortunate understanding of how it impacts the symptoms, how it impacts your ability to work, and treatment issues. So before you stop work and apply for your benefits because of mast cell disease, I think you should be consulting with an experienced ERISA disability attorney such as myself. I can review your policy, look at your records, give you a pathway to creating a winning claim or to appeal a wrongful denial. Call me today at 727-894-3188 for a complimentary consultation. I look forward to helping you regardless of where you live in the United States, and regardless of who your disability carrier might be.